Welcome to today's tutorial on how to bid for mixed lines. My name is Tanya Estes. I'm the chair of the scheduling committee, and I'll walk you through the reason for mixed lines, what it can do for you who might be interested in bidding for it, and how to actually accomplish bidding for a mixed line. I'm going to start by talking a little bit about what mixed lines are. So first of all, mixed lines have been available per our CBA and per the LOAs. However, it's always had to be executed manually by company, meaning after all of the bidding has been completed, pilots have been able to LIP for mixed lines or other types of improvements to their line. But now, with the new version of PBS that will be coming out with your October bid in a few weeks, you'll be able to bid for mixed lines if that's something that you're interested in. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about what it is. So for those who aren't familiar with what mixed lines are, I'm going to show you a few examples here on this screen. This is showing the PDF. These are the results of some tested mixed lines that we've been doing. We used some data from July. Notice that this has been de-identified, but this is still based off of some bidding data that we put together to try to show you what this looks like. So here are a few examples. Right here we see a pilot who had a carry-in trip from June. That's denoted here in gray. And then they've been awarded another flying trip, in this instance in blue, and then you'll notice that the rest of their line for the month is reserve. This is an example of a mixed line. We see a couple of them here. Down at the bottom, we see another situation. This is a pilot who bid for mixed lines for July, and again, this is test data. We put this in, but this is just to show you how it works. So this pilot was awarded 2 flying trips, and then the remainder of their month consists of reserve time. So the way this is going to work per the new LOA, you'll notice that these pilots are given approximately 36 to 44 hours of flying. That's the agreement. That's what the target is for these flying trips that these pilots have been given. And you'll see that that falls just about right. So this person up here has 36 hours and 43 minutes of flying assigned, with the remainder being reserved. And this individual down here, 39 hours and 1 minute of flying assigned, again with the remainder being assigned reserve. Who would be interested in doing this? This is typically going to be pilots who are right on the edge of being able to hold a line. So you're close to being a line holder, but you're not quite there. Maybe you're unsure if you'll be able to hold a line. This is a great technique to ensure that at least you might get some flying. Now, first of all, this is never a guarantee. So for example, you may bid for mixed lines and there may not be enough remaining flying trips left over that can be legally put together per 117 to actually give you that kind of 36 to 44 hours of flying and then be able to get that remainder of reserve time. So if the month allows it and your schedule allows it and it can be legally done per 117 and you bid for it, this could be a possibility that you could be awarded. Another thing to note is that when you do bid for mixed lines, you're essentially bidding, you're going to be awarded a normal credit month. So that's something of note. A few other little facts about mixed lines. First of all, you'll notice that those who are awarded a mixed line are guaranteed 12 days off, as opposed to 11 days off if you have a full reserve month. So for example, these 2 individuals are all reserved the entire month, and they have the typical 11 days awarded to them off. And again, these mixed line individuals are going to be given 12 days off. So that is a nice advantage to being awarded a mixed line. Another aspect of mixed lines that is important to note is that while you are in a flying line status, so for example, this individual down here, while he or she is on this trip or this trip, they are considered a line holder and they're treated as such per the CBA and the LOAs. When they are in reserve status, they would be treated as a reservist. So for example, if this person was on reserve on this day out here and tried to pick up an open time trip perhaps that is maybe a week out, they would not be permitted to do so because that open time trip would be outside of that 72-hour window. So that's just something to note there. Okay, so you know a little bit about what this is and how you might be interested in using it. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate a simple way to bid for mixed lines at this time and give you an idea of how this works. Okay, so here we are in PBS. This is an example again. This is using a sample July setup. This particular pilot has a min credit bid. This is your traditional pairing bid group. Nothing too exciting there. In this case, this pilot has chosen to waive 2 days off in every 7, and that is to try to help them get a line, like a full line. The reason for that, as we've stated in previous tutorials, is that if you're right on the edge of being able to hold a line, waiving those 2 days off, so basically you could have only 1 day off perhaps between trips, that gives you a better shot of getting a line, because by the time we get to that borderline between flying line holders and reservists, there are very, very few open time trips remaining. And in order to build you a legal line that meets the minimum credit threshold, you've got to have kind of as many days open as possible for those to be potentially filled by those remaining trips. So that's why this person's done that. They selected min credit. It just gives you the best chance because, again, there's not much left over, and hopefully there's enough left over to knock together a minimum credit window. This particular pilot has asked for some time off, probably not senior enough to hold the 4th of July off, so they asked for the next weekend off, and we see a demonstration of that here in their min credit bid. Down below, there's a reserve bid group. As always, we tell folks, no matter what, definitely be sure to bid for reserve, because if for whatever reason you're not awarded a line, at least if you bid for those days off that you're interested in getting, there's a chance you'll be able to get those days off and at least have a schedule that you're a little bit more pleased with. Okay, so we've done all that. I'm going to now show you how to bid for a mixed line. This is where it differs from what you've probably done in the past. So I'm going to select Add Bid Group. We're going to select Pairing Bid Group, as we normally do. And here you'll see now we've got a category called Mixed Line. So I'm going to select that and Apply. So we've started a Mixed Line Pairing Bid Group. And I'm going to go ahead and start building out a mixed line in this case. The first thing I'm going to do is waive those 2 days off in 7. This is just, again, going to help you because there's going to be very, very few trips left by the time we get down to this point, and whatever's remaining to help you make that mixed line, there might not be that 2 days off in between those trips that are still going to allow you to be legal under Part 117. So I've waived those days off. I'm going to go ahead and do the preferred offs that this particular person asked for. So it was July. They're really trying to get that Friday through Monday off. But at the end of the day, they'll be happy to get the weekend. So that's kind of what you see this person bidding for. And the 11th through the 14th, the 11th through the 13th. And now, just as a quick reminder for those who haven't seen this before, if you want to make it easy and copy an existing line from a previous bid group, I can just click on the number. You see the number in the colored shape here. You can click on that number and then you can click copy, come down below, and we can go ahead and paste. Oh, I didn't mean to grab both of them, but we got 2 there. I'll delete that one extra that we got. But this allows you to copy and paste. So that's just a quick reminder for those who may not realize that that's a possibility. Okay, so then you would go ahead and submit the bid like you normally would. So if we hit submit, we see that this was successfully received and confirmed for this particular bidder. Okay, so that is the basic way to bid for a mixed line. Go back to our little overview here. And the particular individual that I used here for the bid was this top line up here. So you can see in this case, they already had that carry-in trip, which helped, and that helped allow them to have that flying time that credited them up to 36 hours and 43 minutes, and then the reserve time on the back side of the month. And they did indeed get off that 11th through the 14th of July that they had requested. And that's not always a guarantee. As many of you are aware, it is legal for company to shift reserves around after the fact, We'd expect to see that in the same situation, the same new PBS system, which is why even if you do bid off for some days, there's no guarantee that you won't necessarily get some reserve assigned to those days off that you've bid for. The good news about this new system is it's hoping to minimize that shifting around of reserve days, because in this case, now companies going to have the adequate coverage, and these open time trips will have been mostly taken up by pilots who are interested in these mixed line monthly bids. So that's all we've got for this particular tutorial. If you have any questions, please email our email address, cmtscheduling@alpa.org. We always ask that you email the entire group that way. We have a pretty good team of folks, actually a really good team of folks, and everybody's got kind of their own specialties and niches. So your question might be better served by a particular member of the committee. So emailing the whole group allows everybody to review your question. Another way you can always ask questions of our committee is to file a DART. And again, that's going to get it before the eyes of everybody on the committee and allow us to evaluate your question and get you an answer as quickly as possible, especially if the person you perhaps target to email might be flying at the time. All right. Hopefully this helps with your desire or your trials at bidding for a mixed line. Another thing that I want to point out, please be aware that as we transition to this new version of PBS, you will need to save your default bid off of the PBS system. You can copy and paste it. You can just take a snapshot of it. When we go to the new version of PBS for the October 2025 bid, your default bids will go away. So we do ask, you're going to get some reminders about that, but this is another way to remind you in advance so that nobody gets caught off guard. Hopefully I'll see you out in the crew room or out flying on the line. Have a good one.